everybody, welcome back to another episode of Dadcast. I am JP. That guy is Nick Martin. How are you, bud?
I'm good, man. How are you?
We're fantastic. A little hint as to who we have on the show today can be grabbed from the background where I actually am doing the interviewing today. I'm in the middle of the octagon. Pretty cool, right, Nick?
Yeah, and Jake Paul's right outside your door, too, right?
I don't know if that's the name we need to bring up. Today on the show, we have UFC fighter. He has a professional record of 11-5. He is the Jamaican sensation. Welcome to the show, Mr. Ode Osbourne. How are you, brother, man? Good to see you.
Wagwan. What's up, man? How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Wagwan, Jamaican for what's up?
Wagwan.
Right?
Yeah, you got it, man. You got it. Look, a lot of people be like, "What's Wagwan?" I'm like, "Have you not seen my show?" I say it every time. How do you not know what Wagwan means? Not just that, but every Jamaican says Wagwan. What y'all do?
I have to admit, I did not know until I did look at your show, and I went, I did a little digging. You know, I actually met you at Sticky Paws Studios a couple months ago. You were coming in to do something, and I was just leaving after we were doing our something. And here we are, a couple months later, you're on the show. We're stoked to have you. Now, this is a little... We're leaving our normal lane here on Dadcast because, as you are aware, the premise of our show generally is two dads, Nick and myself, talking about dad life with other celebrity dads. Now, you, sir, you don't have any kids, right?
I do not have any kids.
Right.
Not yet.
So, but that's okay. Because Dadcast doesn't have to have dads on all the time. We'll take place of the dads thing. When we talked in studio there a couple months ago, you were telling me about the message and things you were getting going on to try to spread this news, this message to the world. We'll dive super deep into that, but in a nutshell, what was that? What are you doing in your life right now to make things better, to do right in the world?
Well, so I was a teacher for the last 6 years. I would say September of last year was my first school year that I didn't, teach, or I would say assistant teaching. So, coming here to Las Vegas, I wanted to focus more on, building myself because it was hard going to school, getting done, and then going into the gym. You know what I'm saying? I get done with those kids and I go straight to training after. Mm-hmm. And that was a lot. And I've been doing that for the last 6 years. And so I finally was just like, you know what? I'm going to move out to Vegas and try to get my career elevated to the next level, and try to be the best UFC fighter that I possibly can be because, what I'm saying, it was definitely difficult being able to do that. I can always go back to working with kids and getting into the classroom later on in life. But with that being said, now that I'm out here, I'm like, damn, it's not the same fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? There's something enjoyable about working with children and getting them to that next level. You know what I'm saying? Getting them to that next step in their life. When you see somebody who's been struggling in the beginning of the year and then towards the end of the year, they're just surpassed that threshold and they, you know what I'm saying, are all of a sudden just this phenomenal student and acing and just getting good grades. It's such a rewarding feeling that even raising your hand in the octagon doesn't even compete to that feeling, and so now when I'm out here, I have this podcast now. And I'm like, okay, how can I use this podcast that I'm doing to, elevate and shed light? And I started out with UFC fighters getting on my podcast and having them share their story, because a lot of the times when you're in the UFC, most people don't really know you. They know the persona that you put out. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, UFC is an entertainment business. You know what I'm saying? It's a business. We got to entertain. We fight, but we also got to entertain. We got to put on a show for the fans. You know what I mean? And I love it. But I also have this podcast so I can have fighters come on and then give them their actual selves to the fans so they can see who these guys actually are, so they can see who I actually am. And so taking it a step further, I'm actually having these two young adults. They're about, I want to say they're 12 years old. Olivia Harness and her sister, Tatiana Harness, and they're amazing basketball players, right?
12 years old. I'm going to say not quite adults yet, though.
Yes, but check out if you ever get yeah, not even close. But if you get a chance to check out their Instagram,
right,
you'd see their dad like is so supportive. You know, he takes these girls to the park and puts them up against these boys, and they just, oh my goodness, they school some boys. And I used to show their footage in my classroom to my kids, because my kids are, oh my gosh, when they talk about basketball, they think they're the best. And I tease them. I'd be like, man, I know these girls that'll come school y'all right now. And so I'm going to have them come on my podcast and, you know, share their story and, you know, give them a platform, because a lot of times, like I said, when you see even kids have stories as well, you know, and a lot of times when you see certain kids at a certain level, you wonder, like, how did they get there? You know, how did they come to be this great? And their work ethic is just phenomenal. And I want to capture that more. I want to get more athletes, more student athletes, and bring them on the show who are doing really good things, you know, because I want to strive for excellence. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you promote excellence, you get back excellence. And that's something I've always wanted to strive for when I talk about children. And so I'm going to have different athletes, student athletes, come on my show. Preferably, I would like to take them on a tour to the UFC Performance Institute and show them the different avenues that the Performance Institute offers. Right. You know, the physical therapy, strength and conditioning. They got the strength, nutrition. You know, it's because when you're a kid, you only think, oh, I want to be an athlete, or I want to be a movie star, or I want to do this. You don't really think that, oh, I want to do everything. You know what I'm saying? Or I want to do 3 different things, but you can do 3 different things when you get older. And I came from Jamaica, right? I came up in I came up in the jungle. Like, I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I was always out in the woods, always out and about. You know what I'm saying? And that was just something I like to do, because I wasn't a bother to the adults. When I was off doing my own thing in the woods all the time, climbing trees, I wasn't a bother to the adults. You know what I'm saying? But all I knew at the time was the woods. That's the only thing I really knew. I was very aware. I was always very aware of my surroundings, because I grew up outside, you know? And so when you grow up outside, you become aware and you try new things. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of like Tarzan in the jungle. My point I'm trying to make is when I came to America, I discovered all the different opportunities there were. And I was like, holy shit.
How old were you when you came to America?
I was about 9 years old.
Okay.
I moved to Brooklyn 3 months before 9/11 happened. I moved to Brooklyn. And I was like, yo, wow, this place.
Let me touch on that real quick. So you're 9 years old. You've been here 3 months, and then all hell breaks loose. That could not have been like a very good first impression for you and what America is. How did you get through that time in your life?
Man, you know what's crazy? You know what's really crazy? And it's really kind of messed up, but it didn't really faze me. And
well, kids are a whole lot tougher than these adults.
Well, not even just that, but I'd already seen so much growing up in Kingston. You know what I'm saying? I'd already seen a lot. And as a child, when you see a lot of happening around you, you know, you become numb to certain things. You understand what I'm saying? And so it affects me now more thinking back at the situation than when I was a kid.
Right.
You know, when I think back about the situation, I'm like, damn, like, I can't believe, you know, I was watching all these kids just fled the class. Their parents would pick them up. It was chaotic and I'm just sitting in my class like, what is going on? I had no idea what was going on. We were about 45 minutes away from the Twin Towers, and I had no idea what was going on. I was just confused, but everybody was freaking out. And I was so unfazed, which was crazy, you know. But fast forward, coming to the States, the first thing I did was I got into the bathtub and I played in that bathtub for like 3 hours because I was like, man, like this hot water feels amazing. I've never felt hot water
Right.
in my life. I've never seen a bathtub in my life. My shower was outside when I was, eventually I moved to my grandma's house where, we had a shower indoors and stuff like that. But for the most part, I didn't have hot water. You know what I'm saying? So I realized when I moved to America at a young age, how much opportunities there are. And I was like, wow, this place is the greatest place on earth. Literally the greatest place on earth. And I just set my sights on becoming something great because I knew where I was and I didn't want to go back to that.
When did
now,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, so now that's what I aim to do with children. I want to show them how much opportunities there are out into the world. Because if you think about it, the kids I worked with in my school were mainly inner city children. And a lot of the kids in inner city, they don't know anything else outside. They don't know a lot outside of the inner city. We used to take them on camping trips. We took them to the museum. We took them, food tasting, and they were mind blown because you're introducing them to something new, creating opportunities. So their inner city was my jungle, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So now I have to take them to America to show them. That's why I want to bring, these kids to the UFC Performance Institute, give them that avenue of clarity. So when the child sees all these different opportunities, instantly you're like, wow, I can literally be anything I want to be. Because that's all it took for me, was going from the woods to America. And then the light bulb, boom. I was like, oh my goodness, I can be anything I want to be just by seeing that. Now, if I had not seen that, I wouldn't have thought I could be anything I wanted to be.
Do you find it, I'm sorry, Nick, do you have something?
Yeah. So the UFC Performance Institute, is that kind of like, is that for the fighters? Is it for anybody? Is it just to kind of like, as you're fighting, it says, okay, there's other avenues to pursue?
Yes, it is. It is mostly for the fighters. We go there for nutrition. They have a team. It's amazing, man. It really is amazing. They have a nutrition team that gives you everything you need to have a balanced diet throughout the day so you can perform well. They run testing on you. You know what I'm saying? They have a strength and conditioning team that puts you through these workouts. They build your strength, not just get you strong, but they build you up your speed, your endurance, your agility, all that stuff. And they like I said, they do tests. They run all these tests so you can see the numbers on the board as you're improving. So it's not just a random guess. Everything is like, they call it sports science, which is amazing. If you see the amount of technology they have and the stuff that they're able to do at this Performance Institute, you'd be like, wow. It is like a NASA for athletes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Are you still training now?
Yes, I'm still training right now, of course. Yep.
All right. So if I were to pay you an ungodly amount of money, Ode, and say I'm going to tail you for 90 days, could you whip my fat ass into shape?
I mean, I could, man. Anybody could do it. Look, anybody could do it. But here's the thing, though. It's not about me. It's about you. You know what I'm saying? You got to be the one to want to do it.
Well, I need to be held accountable. That's my biggest problem.
Accountable.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's all of our biggest problems. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have coaches.
And that's what's leading me to that. I may joke, all joking aside, but the work that you do and want to do and continue to do for the kids out there you're going to hold them accountable. And not only that, but show them what is available in life. And I think that's a great thing that you're doing, man. Recently, give me an example recently, what you've done for a kid or a group of kids here in Vegas.
Well, that's what I was telling you. I was telling about these two girls that I'm bringing here. The two young basketball players, they're sisters, just amazing athletes. And I've already brought them to the Performance Institute. I'm, really close with their dad. Their dad's a huge fight fan. I brought them and their father to the Performance Institute and showed them around, gave them a tour, took them to lunch. So now I want to bring them back and hopefully have someone from the Performance Institute, like from each avenue, from strength and conditioning, from nutrition, and from physical therapy, talk to them about their career, and just give them different avenues. Like, here's what I do, and so what I'm saying. It sparks. It gives them more to look forward to, because a lot of times as kids, you don't really think about stuff like that. You're a lot of times you're in the moments.
How soon do you plan on doing that for them, give or take?
Hopefully December or January.
Okay.
I'm hoping hopefully in December.
I know I can't be the only one who thought of this, and if I am, well, I'm about to drop a nugget of gold on you. Vegas just so happens to be the home of the WNBA champions this year, and I'm sure with who you are and the people you know and the people that in that room know, what are the odds on getting one of the WNBA players to tag along that day? You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
And that would be just not only just an awe-inspiring moment for those girls, but to have
write that down.
Oh, there you go, man. This is what I do.
I like that. I like that.
And for you, what a great episode as well. Sitting down behind the mic at Sticky Paws Studios, free plug, wink, wink. To not only inspire those kids, but do a good thing for you as well, so.
For sure. And I've actually met Kelsey Plum a bunch of times, and I've had numerous conversations with her, so.
But hit her up, man.
I might have to do that. Actually, that's a very good idea, because I don't know where this is going to end, but I do know where it's going to start and where I want to start with it. And the way I do certain things, I go all in. I'm 100. I always go in 100%. Like, when you met me, that was my first day. I didn't even have a studio yet. John Orlando was like, "Hey, this is our, this was I hadn't even shot an episode." Now I'm like,
that was your first day. You walked in the first day, and Randy Couture's in the studio.
Yes.
Yeah. So
now I'm like 10 episodes deep. You know what I'm saying? Just going in on the Sticky Paws studio, man. I love it here, and I love, like I said, having a platform to not only fighting. We'll put fighting aside, right? Because at the end of the day, I love fighting, but at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything for me besides boost my ego, gives me a platform, puts money in my pocket, right?
Right.
Which is all good things, But now the reward, I want something like that has longevity, that has a long-term effect. I want to do things that have a long-term effect, like changing people's lives have a long-term effect. Winning a fight, it's a short-term effect. You know what I'm saying? I win, my ego is great, everyone loves me for a week, then I'm hated again. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to do things that change people's lives for the better, for a long duration of time. And not just that, but build a legacy for my kids, my future kids, to do the same. I don't want to be just Ode Osbourne, the entertainer. I want to be Ode Osbourne, the people's guy that can put on for kids, can put on for adults, can put on for anyone that's willing to hear the message. You know what I mean? And I want to build a legacy. I don't want to be just an entertainer. I want to do something that will impact the world. And I don't know what it is yet, but I do know wherever God decides to take me, I'm going to go that way, and it's going to be good.
Well, I think you're on the right path, man. I mean, you're well-spoken. You're obviously a smart motherfucker. Sorry, I had to drop the first F-bomb in this episode, man.
I know. I'm disappointed in myself right now.
And, you're right. It's hell, you could end up being flyweight, featherweight, whatever champion, UFC, and that's great for a year or two. But what do you want? When they're putting dirt over your head, what do they want to be remembered by? You want to be the UFC fighter from 40 years ago, or this guy who changed the world? And
exactly.
And changed the world. Even if you change the world in one child's life, that's changing the world. Still.
For sure. And for sure. And in order to do that, I have to make sure that my soul is complete. Meaning right now, being in Vegas, like there's so many distractions, you know what I mean?
I got to interrupt you, Ode. Soul is complete. Now for me, and I'm not going to speak for Nick, but I think he would agree. My soul I didn't know needed completing until I had kids. And then all of a sudden, boom. I think my soul is complete, but it's not entirely. You know what's gonna full circle my soul is when my kids have kids.
Man, that's amazing.
I agreed with you until 6 p.m. yesterday.
What?
Liam decided he wanted dinner. He wanted pancakes with butter. And then he's like, fuck it. He said, fuck this, Dad. And threw the pancakes on the floor.
He's 2, by the way, Ode.
Butter all over my wood floor. And then to follow that up, I walked through the kitchen and slipped on the butter that he just smeared all over my floor.
Which you can't be doing.
And then my soul was crushed. I'm like,
man.
Oh, yeah. But those are the things you're going to miss it when they don't happen anymore.
I would have been like
100% right, man. Like kids changed my life. It's amazing.
So do you want to become a father one day? Ode?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I absolutely 100. Man, I want like 4 kids. You know,
We're going to get personal and deep then here. What so far has limited you? The right partner? What's going on? 30 years old, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's getting close to time, man. Come on.
Well, like I said, I have to make sure my soul is complete. Meaning when I say that, I have to stop the fuckery. Meaning, going out and drinking and, just doing stupid shit. Like doing stupid shit because I'm very hard on myself. So I'm like, man, I can't be preaching about this and preaching about that, but going out and doing stupid shit. You know what I'm saying?
For the record, my fuckery didn't stop when I found out my lady was pregnant. Okay. I don't think the fuckery has ever completely, I love that word. It's so fun to say. The fuckery has not completely left my system. It has for the most part. It has really toned it down becoming a dad, but just take it from me, you don't have to quit all the fuckery. You can just make it.
You're still going to need a little bit of fuckery.
But I mean, yeah, but at the same time, you know what I mean? I see people bring kids into this world and I'm just like, you brought those kids in this world and you don't have your shit together? Yeah. I don't want to be that person. I want to bring kids into this world and make sure to give them the best me possible because they deserve that. Yeah. I didn't have a father around to give me the best me. You know what I'm saying? I want to give my kids the best me. My dad was nowhere near. And I want to make sure that my kids have all of that and more. Right. And so with that being said, I have to start holding myself accountable for certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
And making sure that I am held accountable. Because if I'm not held accountable, guess what? If I start making excuses, I'm just paving the way for my kids to start making excuses.
Yeah. But
so I got to make sure.
Don't look past the fact that you need to be perfect. Here's a good quote.
No, for sure. I'm not talking about being perfect. Yeah. No, I'm not talking about being perfect at all.
Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, or is it the other way around? Don't let good be the enemy of perfect. Okay, if that's a little deep, it's hard to grasp sometimes, but good is still pretty good. Yeah, so don't look past that is all I'm saying. But if all of a sudden you're going to be 45 years old going, shit.
I don't know, man. From what I'm saying, you're going to be a great dad.
Yeah, and don't worry about the age thing. Nick's like what, 43?
43. I got one on the way right now.
Really? So. Kid in the oven as we speak.
No, I'm very hard on myself. I'm pretty hard on myself because I think back. I always think back to like 25-year-old me, and I'm just like, man, I was a piece of shit. Like, not really, honestly, not really. Right. But I'm just like, man, like I've grown up so much compared to 25-year-old me. I'm just like, wow. Like I just want to keep evolving as a person. And with that being said, I feel like I have so much going on, right? And having a kid right now isn't ideal. Maybe 2 years from now will be more ideal. Right. But right now I have so much going on. And if I had a kid, I would drop everything for my kid. I don't fucking care. Fuck all of it. Fuck fighting. Fuck all of it. I wouldn't say I'd quit fighting. I wouldn't do that. But
you got to find a balance, man. You got to find a new balance.
Exactly. But I'm going 100 for my kid. You know what I mean?
Now, there's another important part of the equation I haven't even asked. Is there a girlfriend or a wife in the life of Ode Osbourne?
There is someone I'm talking to right now, yes.
Okay, all right. And if you watch this little miss, no pressure, don't worry. We're not telling him to go out and get you pregnant, okay? Okay, we're pumping the brakes. But
man.
you know, that's a pretty good. I mean, if we were on the dating game right now and you answered yes, I want kids, and yes, I'm going to go 100, you just passed, man. So
yeah, nah. We've been, let's see, a year in September. She lives in Wisconsin, so it's a long distance thing, you know. Yeah. I moved to Vegas. We actually met 2 years ago. And when I met her, she was like, "Nah, you ain't ready." She's so mature. Like I don't deserve her. She's like, oh my goodness, she is super, super smart and very mature, you know. I have to make sure that I can live up to what it is to be a father in time, because she's someone that I would want to have kids with. You know what I mean? So I have to make sure that I'm ready in that way, mentally, physically, emotionally, because like I said, man, I see too many times, including my own father, too many times where dads just don't live up. There's no such thing as a perfect dad. There's really no such thing. But here's the thing. All you gotta do is try and show up. That's it. You don't gotta be perfect. Shit, just try. Yeah. Hey, if you're there once a week, if you're there once a month, as long as you're trying, that's cool. But at least be there sometimes and try, and at least let your kid know that you're trying. At least, you know, in the era that we're in, which is the communication era, cell phones.
We'll just call it the age of social media.
Yes. Like there's no excuses for fathers not to be around for their kids. Like there's FaceTime. You know, if you have a job that you travel, come on, man. But going back to what I'm saying, I want to make sure that I am here, you know, and here doesn't mean perfect. It doesn't mean perfect at all. Here does mean I have a house that's stable, that I can, you know what I mean, give them a space to do what they want to do. I have a proper relationship, meaning like me and my spouse can give them the proper guidance and give them everything that they need. I have, you know, that's it. That's pretty much all I would like to start with. But right now, me and my spouse, we live in two separate states. Yeah. Right now, I'm renting, waiting to buy a house because the market's crazy. So my shit's not in order.
Well, don't. That's all right, man. You know, again, Nick, hell, was your first kid? Wait, there was nothing in order. My first kid, I was 36 years old, you know, and again, it changed my life. It probably saved my life, but I wasn't ready. Hell, I was living in an apartment, partying every friggin' night, working on DJ. It was just, and it's crazy how. Well,
here's the thing. I know that's what you did, but I'm not trying to do that.
Right, exactly, exactly.
I'm not trying to do that.
For the record, it worked out pretty well for me because, you know, heads on right. It's all, you know. It's the greatest thing in the world. It's the absolute greatest thing. And I
love it, man. Because like I said, right now, man, the fuckery is just. But here's the thing. If I keep my standards high, right? If I set a high standard for myself, then I'm okay with batting at like a 60%. You know what I'm saying? But if my standards is at a 60%, shit, my batting average is at like 10 or 9.
Give me an example of. Sorry, Nick.
Like if I wish I would have waited until 5 years ago to start having kids. Like I love my kids. I love all of my kids. They're amazing. But 5 years ago is where I can say my life was the right point to want to have kids. Where I owned a house, had my shit together. Yeah. The fuckery was at a minimum for sure.
I want to know what recent fuckery is. What is the definition of it for Ode?
It's nothing crazy, man. Fuckery for me is just like shit, going out on the weekends, watching the fights, occasionally throwing some dollar bills at the casino, and you know what I'm saying?
Well, if that's the case, then I am all about fuckery still.
Yeah.
I throw a lot of dollar bills out in Vegas. And Ode, so when I saw you, what was it? It was 2 months ago. So I'm going to call it September-ish. Yeah. We'll just say it was September. That was probably the 15th time I was in Vegas at that point this year. It is now November 3rd, and this is the first month I have not been to Vegas yet, but I will be there in a couple weeks because I have made it a point to be there every single month this year, and I need to go there to cash in some stuff. Anywho, but
I feel that.
That'll be number 24.
Let me know when you
24
come out
times.
here.
Oh, totally,
Let me
man.
know.
Let's sit down and I'll appear on your show. Inside
that'd be dope, bro.
Sticky
That'd be
Paws
really
Studios,
awesome, man.
if that's something you're into.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'm definitely down for that.
But yeah, I that's really not fuckery, if you ask me. That's just having fun, man.
Oh, most definitely. But here's the thing, man. I'm a strong believer. So my upbringing was so chaotic, right?
I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah. So my upbringing was very chaotic. I didn't have my mom. She is amazing. Like you see that pause?
Yes, sir.
My mom is amazing. Like she had to be a father, a mother, everything. You know, she worked, she did it all. She couldn't do it all though, you know. So the structure in which I was built lacked a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Which is okay because she couldn't do it all. But with that being said, now that I'm 30, I'm slowly finding those structural tools that I wasn't getting. And now that I'm 30, I'm like, wow, okay, I'm understanding and realizing certain things about life. And here's the thing about life. In order to get what you want, you have to make sacrifices. You have to. There's no other way around it. Maybe you can get what you want for a little bit without making sacrifices, but in order to hold on to what you want, you have to make sacrifices. And I want to be a UFC champion. And in order to become a UFC champion, I have to make the sacrifice of going out and gambling and doing fuckery for a little while, because those are just distractions, right?
Yeah.
And in order to get to that place of higher elevation, higher frame of thinking, higher fighting, higher knowledge, higher wisdom, higher faith, higher everything, you have to give up a lot and you have to isolate yourself and you have to be almost like, you have to just embody yourself into you. You have to focus. Everything has to be, it just has to be you got to get to this pinnacle. In order to get to the pinnacle, you have to make all of the sacrifices. Otherwise, you will snap like a twig. Look at Conor McGregor, prime example. That man if he comes back, he'll never be a champion again because, I mean, he might. I don't think he will. But the thing about it is, he lost himself in all the fuckery.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose myself in all the fuckery. So, yes, I have to have balance, but I also have to make sacrifices to get to where I want to go. Then after I get to where I want to go, then I can afford to do all the fuckery and do all the other bullshit. But I'm not there yet. I need to get there first. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I need to get there first. And as a society, we have a tendency to say, well, you know, I have to enjoy life, or, well, you know, I got to do this. I'm human. I'm this, I'm that. And that's cool. But if you have a goal in mind, like I do, if you have a goal in mind, then I can't make excuses because my goal doesn't become as obtainable when I start making excuses for my fuckery. I have to stop the fuckery and focus on my shit in order to become the champion that I desire to be.
And there you have it. Ode, we do Dadcast in 2 parts. So don't go anywhere. Everyone watching and listening worldwide, this has been part 1 with UFC fighter Ode Osbourne. We're going to be back with part 2 in 1 week, so don't go anywhere. Obviously, thank you for listening, watching, subscribe, smash, comment, do all the things, and we'll catch you next week right here on Dadcast.